Hello and welcome to the Common Colt Podcast. My name is Joshua Hudgens, and with me today is my co-host Dan Hertzler. Together, we're Colts fans trying to provide real analysis on the Colts without pulling punches, and sometimes that's easier said than done. But hey, how's it going today, Dan?
We're doing good. I mean, feeling good after a huge win last week. Got that monkey off our backs.
Oh,
We got
first
that
win,
win.
baby.
We're not the bottom of the barrel anymore, and we're looking good. But unfortunately, another big game this week, and you can't celebrate too much because you got another divisional game. Got the Titans in town. And we're going right at it. So, looking at this game and just thinking bigger picture here, Josh, I'm just curious, this offense they've just not clicked. They've not looked good. It's one of the biggest questions right now with the Colts.
Yeah.
What would you suggest that they can do to fix this offense?
Well, I think you have to look at what's realistic. And the guys that are clamoring for the Colts to make a splash trade and get a big name receiver and trade a first round draft pick, that's not realistic and it's probably not going to happen. We know Chris Ballard loves his draft picks, and we know that the Colts just probably aren't going to trade a first round pick or an early pick for a receiver. So you have to think about things that they can do, minor adjustments to maybe make a big difference. And I think the Colts can take a page out of the Denver Broncos book here. Denver, their head coach Hackett, he wasn't doing so hot, and then he accepted that, and I appreciated that from Hackett. He's like, hey, I might be in over my head a little bit here, so let's hire me an assistant game day decision maker in Jerry Roseberg, and he helps that. And the Broncos, I know they beat the 49ers. They still didn't look very great, but they won the game. Now, I think the Colts could do that on the offensive side of the ball. I know they have Marcus Brady as offensive coordinator, and whether or not he's the guy for the job, I'm not for sure. But looking at, and I don't have any head coaches or assistants in mind that could help, but let's look at the Buccaneers, for example. They've got a guy on their coaching staff who's an offensive consultant. The guy's name, he's an old, wily veteran in the NFL as a coach, Tom Moore. Colts fans, if you know who Tom Moore is, that guy was Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator for all those years. They got Tom Brady at quarterback. I mean, that guy's the greatest of all time, and even they have an offensive consultant to help out that offensive, approach. So the Colts, if they could find somebody like that, just even if he's just a consultant or something to help Frank Reich make game day decisions and maybe help with play call decisions, I think that would be extremely beneficial for this Colts offense, which is anemic right now.
Do you think Frank would go for something like that, or do you think he's too prideful, too arrogant, too much control?
I think he's going to have to. And the more they struggle, I think the more it'll get real. And maybe that's a conversation the Colts are having internally right now. I watched a press conference, not necessarily a press conference, but a conversation from Jim Irsay, and he was kind of boarding his bus after the Chiefs game underneath Lucas Oil Stadium. And Irsay said something along the lines of, both teams made calls that would have been head scratchers if they lost. But when you win, you don't have to answer those questions. So I don't think that Reich has Irsay's 100% confidence. And I think just having somebody help him out, because he's got a lot on his plate. I mean, game day decisions, I mean, he's doing a lot. And calling plays, he's doing a lot. Just having somebody help, that's not always a bad thing.
Well, any male, female person that plays Madden football, they know, like, hey, what to do in these game situations has kind of been the running joke. When you sit there and hey, hats off to Denver for thinking about that. I think that'd be a great move. I think that would really help when to go for it on fourth down.
Do you think the Colts should hire some? Do you think should hire some drunk guy in the stands to help call the plays? I'm sure half those guys think they know what they're doing. So.
Well, I think everyone would just say, give the ball to Jonathan Taylor every time. So I'm not quite there yet, but I think there's something about the analytics, the simulations, all that kind of stuff that might help certain calls. To me, I'm going to say something that probably isn't very sexy when you think about trying to adjust or change an offense, because I really think the Colts just need to stay the course. Now that sounds silly because this offense has not looked good. Yeah. Probably out of the 12 quarters they've played, maybe 2 or 3 really good quarters and some really bad quarters in there. But you got to remember their biggest issue right now is what we've identified really is the communication issue with the offensive line. That can get fixed. That can get worked through. That can improve. Doesn't require personnel changes. I still believe in this offensive line. I believe in Jonathan Taylor still, too. He's a top back. I believe Matt Ryan is an improvement over Wentz. And so let's keep there. Their receiving core, I think, will get better with time. So this team just needs to – their offense needs to get together. They need to talk about what they need to shore up and get that communication going well. But they just need to let people kind of grow into their roles, let people go. It's only 3 games. And no preseason really action for some of these guys, or their preseason wasn't, really legit. So it's going to take some time. Just stay with the course. But when I say that, make sure you realize I don't ever think this Colts team is going to be a top 10 offense.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be that good. If that's your expectation, you might want to sit next to the drunk guy that's calling the plays every time because that ain't going to happen. I'm telling you. But this offense can be efficient, and they can be a good enough offense to win games. And that's why I think the Colts just need to stay the course and keep kind of trusting the system, trust the process in this. Hey, we'll see. Big game this week. One of the other big topics going around there, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, Josh, is this whole thing with Leonard practicing and then not playing, practicing and not playing. It's just one of the weirdest things, and it's bringing a lot of flashbacks to another bad experience. I know, bad experience with the Colts, and so what are your thoughts on this?
Yes, shades of Andrew Luck maybe, and I've seen this on Twitter actually, and somebody called Shaquille Leonard Andrew Luck in the offseason. He actually got mad he actually responded at the fan. He called him dumb or something. I don't know, but it is weird, and the Colts organization has proven to be less than 100% honest with injuries. And not that I think any NFL team is very honest with injuries, but I think you have to either take an approach with like the quote-unquote Patriot way where you just don't say anything or you just be transparent. And the Colts are kind of in this in-between area sometimes, and I feel like it puts them in bad spots. Shaquille Leonard, week 1, he practiced, and they were saying that, hey, this guy might go. And then he didn't go, and he hasn't gone in any of these games. And now just this week, Shaquille Leonard in an interview says, hey, after practice week 1, I was real stiff and slow. But leading up to the game, they left it open-ended as if he was going to play, which you could say is a kind of a competitive edge, maybe, leaving the opponent in the dark. But there's some politics with fans as well that makes us feel a certain kind of way. I think the issue with Shaquille Leonard is he went through a pretty major surgery. It was a back surgery. The Colts were probably somewhat optimistic that, hey, maybe this guy does have a chance of playing early. But I think they should have been a little more honest and said, hey, look, honestly, he's not going to play the first few weeks of the season. We're going to take it slow. This guy is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He got surgery on his back. We got Zaire Franklin, who's been playing okay, and we're going to let him get healthy, not re-aggravate it, and he's going to play good football when he's back. I wouldn't be giving him this day-to-day treatment that it seems like they're giving to fans. Yeah. Doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and the NFL is unlike other sports where they take their injury report really serious. Most people think it's because of betting in Vegas. Teams can lose draft picks; they can get fined. So the Colts are trying to err on that. But what is really odd about this situation, which is hard to grasp from our perspective, is that he keeps practicing. Yes. He's a full participant in all the practices, and then really comes up to be a game time decision. Says he's not going to go. You mentioned about the fan in the offseason comparing to Andrew Luck. He came out and said something, right? You had a quote there about this week. Like he's, I think he's trying to say, I'm not retiring. I don't, I still love football. What was that quote again?
Yeah. He's pretty much said when he's ready to go, he's 100% in. He will do whatever it takes to get on the field, and he's dedicated to this game because a lot of fans are kind of questioning his commitment to the game, and I don't think that that's necessarily right. I think if you're going to point a blame at anybody, I wouldn't necessarily point the blame at Shaquille Leonard's dedication to the game as much as I would say, hey, the Colts, our organization probably is not the best at communicating health on players. And I think that's where, if you're going to point the finger anywhere, it's going to be at the organization.
Well, it seemed like the broadcast on Sunday was making an effort, or at least showing him on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I saw him quite a few times. He's into the game. He's pumping up the players. I don't think the question of the love of the game, the Andrew Luck stuff, I don't think that's fair one bit. I do think, like you said, back injuries are something that they want to be really cautious with. And if he wakes up and he has that stiff back, or he's got that kind of doubt in his mind, they're not going to put him out there because they want him there. The problem is, though, right now the Colts defense, I think, is playing really well. They're just lacking some of that splash play. They're lacking some of those big moments. You've seen one or two, hey, big interception. I don't want to take that away. But it's been a lot more just steady, a lot more just kind of bend and don't break. Leonard provides them someone with the talent that can make that huge play, that can get their offense rolling downhill. Okay, that's what a defense can do.
Yeah, you punch that ball loose at the 30-yard line. All of a sudden, your offense is in a great spot. The interesting thing, and Shaquille Leonard got some flack for how he's jumping on the sideline. That is dumb. This guy is being a leader for your team, and he's not on the field. I mean, that is great. To say, oh, he's moving around, why isn't he playing? That's just dumb. That's just dumb, in my opinion. So taking that into consideration, the Colts are playing the Titans this coming week in a huge game. I'm kind of thinking about all the things the Colts can do to beat this Titans team, who's really, they're not playing all that well either. And I'm saying, whether Shaquille Leonard plays or not, that defense they got to build off of what they did against the Chiefs. This Chiefs offense is good, and really the defense is the one who kept them in this game. And their defense, run defense, who's going to be pitted up against Derrick Henry, their run defense is on point this season without Shaquille Leonard. First in rush yards per play. They're averaging only like 2.6 yards per rush against the Colts rush defense. Tackles for loss, no gain, first in the league. So they're really bottling up the run well. And this, obviously the Titans predicated on play action passes and handoffs to Derrick Henry. So if you can build off what you did last week against the Chiefs, I think the Colts are going to be in a really good spot. It's just going to be interesting. How are you thinking they can take down this Titans team?
Yeah, do you feel like you're looking in a mirror when you see this Titans team?
Yeah, a little bit. If they're constructed the same, it feels like. Yeah,
you got a veteran quarterback. You got a run-heavy offense. You get with Henry and JT kind of thing. You've got some young, unproven receivers. You got a defense that is solid, nothing spectacular, but very solid. So I think this is a really interesting game in that regard. Derrick Henry hasn't really taken off. He hasn't done really well. They lost their left tackle. Colts have some questions there. Working in all these younger receivers and trying to get them up to speed. So they're 1-2. Hey, we're 1-1-1, and this is going to be a big game. And we said it kind of jokingly, but now you're not even. You're kind of looking up at the Jaguars. The Jaguars are a game ahead, and so what you can't do is you can't fall back too far. And this is a game. I don't want to quite call it a must-win game because I feel like every week we're going to say it's a must-win game, but it's right underneath whatever you call a must-win game. And what the Colts got to do, the Colts have to. They haven't yet. They've got to come out. And they got to do something on that first drive. I mean, it's just almost been embarrassing what they haven't done on these first drives.
Yeah, think about that Chiefs game. I mean, they went 3 and out. I mean, they looked bad, and then the fumble punt really helped the Colts. And to that point, you got to think about Derrick Henry. And if you can get that lead against the Titans with that running game, that can only help. But Matt Ryan, I think if you're going to be aggressive and make plays and throw the ball, he's going to have to make a little bit less mistakes. There's been some times where I think he's trying to play hero ball and holding on to it and not throwing the ball into the ground like he should. I think he's still going to have to be calculated. And it's a fine balance there. But, yes, I agree. You've got to come out like a shot out of a can in this game.
Yeah, it's frustrating because, again, the first 15 plays of the game are scripted. They should be some of your best plays that you've been working on all week, that you're ready to go, that you see something in the other team and you can go after and you can attack it. And the Colts have been awful in that. And so I need to see something good. We saw a little bit early on that they fed JT against the Chiefs. They got to do the same thing, but something here again. Whether it's a deep shot, whether it's a little misdirection and these types of things, something has to happen in those first plays. The Colts got to start out strong in this game.
And I think this game means more to the Colts than if they lose standing wise. I mean, you're starting off 3 division games in 4 weeks pretty much, and you would be 0-2-1 in division games. I mean, that's pretty much a death sentence, just about to win a division. But I think everybody in the Colts organization feels the pressure because Tennessee's kind of beat up on Indianapolis lately. They swept them last year. And Jim Irsay, as an owner of the Colts, he really cares and he takes this stuff seriously. He's really invested in Colts football. And I mean, even today on my phone, I was checking his Twitter account. 6 times today, he's tweeted about, hey, Colts fans have got to bring it at Lucas Oil Stadium this Sunday. They've got to be ready to go, loud. He understands how big this game is. And actually, I'm going to read off a quote where Irsay, I guess, quote unquote, had a come to Jesus meeting with Colts scouts and coaches and said, hey, after they lost to the Titans again, you're getting your butts kicked and you're not doing anything about it. He wants results against this Titans team. And I'm curious of how this Colts team is going to come out on Sunday.
Yeah. So put your little, prediction hat on. We've been pretty bad here the last few weeks. But tell me kind of how you see even the game going. Is it going to be close? Is it going to finish close? Is it going to be a blowout? What do you see happening here?
I'm going to call it how I see it here. The Colts are going to win this game by 2 scores. I think Colts are going to win 31-21, and the difference is going to be Jonathan Taylor is not washed up, and we're not so sure about Derrick Henry. And the Colts are at home. They're feeling good after a win against Kansas City. And that momentum is going to transfer, and the Colts are going to beat the Titans. Because really, they could have beat the Titans last year if it wasn't for Carson Wentz's left-handed throw interception at the goal line. So I think we have the team to beat the Titans. I really do.
Yeah, I like the idea of Jonathan Taylor breakout game. Everyone's waiting for it. Everyone in the country that drafted him 1 or 2 in fantasy football are just waiting for Jonathan Taylor to do something.
I got to say something about that. And I hate to toot my own horn, but I said, hey, Jonathan Taylor in the preseason, he didn't take a snap. And last season, he started off a little slow. If you look at the numbers, it wasn't until the Dolphins game last year when he really started taking off. I think that just not getting those touches, not playing at game speed, every player's different, and just not having that happen takes some time. And I think we're going to see, obviously, offensive lines had some issues, don't get me wrong, but just for Jonathan Taylor to play in games and get those reps, I think we might have a breakout game for Jonathan Taylor this week.
Okay, I see 3 big things happening. I see Jonathan Taylor catching a screen pass and taking a long distance, a big touchdown, Jonathan Taylor. I see Matt Ryan doing the exact same thing Matt Ryan's done. He's going to fumble 2 or 3 times. He's going to throw 2 or 3 passes where you're just going to scream at the TV, and then he's going to lead a touchdown very late into the 4th quarter, and they're going to take the lead, but they're going to leave too much time left. Tannehill's going to come down. He's going to be in right position to be able to kick a field goal to win the game, but he's going to take a bad sack because Ryan Tannehill stinks.
Yep.
And the Colts are going to win 20-17.
Wow.
Because Ryan Tannehill is going to blow the game for the Titans. That's my prediction.
Wow. No, that would be awesome. I think the stadium would be rocking if that happened. I'm curious. This game's a big game for the Colts in their division and for their playoff chances. Yep. They could really build some momentum with the win here against the Titans. Guys, this is the Common Colt Podcast. I'm Josh Hudgens. Dan Hertzler is my co-host. Again, we're Colts fans. We're going to call it how we see it. We want the Colts to win, but we're going to call them when they're not doing so good either. We're going to say, hey, you guys kind of suck right now. And that's what we've done the first 2 weeks of the season. Now we're ready for a Colts win on Sunday. Guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, have a great day.